Welcome back to the Waistline Podcast. This is Syatt, your host, and I'm so happy to have you here. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the amazing response to the Robert Bud Garcia episode last week. The outpouring of love and support for him was amazing, and it means the world to me and to him. So thank you again to Robert for coming on, and thank you, the listeners and viewers, for all of the love and support you gave him, because he deserves it. He's a great guy. And if you haven't listened to or watched that episode yet, I would do that. But this week, we have another great guest. I'm blessed with all the great people who I've been able to meet and talk with about weight loss. And this week is no different. Very quickly, I am in Milwaukee, I guess. Yeah, I just got back from Austin. The shows went great. Thanks for asking. For those of you who don't know, I'm recording this before because I don't want to miss a week. But I'm calling you from the past again. Today is actually Tuesday, the 8th. I just want to be honest with you. Today is Tuesday the 8th, and I am weighing in later today. So right here, I will tell you I am down a total of 88.6 pounds. That's amazing. I'm so happy to be down that much weight. I'm getting close to 90 pounds down. Hopefully by next week, I'll be down 90 pounds. And then only 10 more pounds to go until 100. And then another 75-ish pounds. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The person who I have on today is someone that I have known for a very long time peripherally. I believe I met her as a child, but she actually is one of my father's best friends. And on top of that, like, that's not a what is it called? A credential for the podcast. I would have loved to have her on even if she had no idea who my dad was. But when I started this idea, I had this idea when I was living with my dad in Florida. And literally the moment that I had this idea, he said, "You have to talk to Charlene." So Charlene, her name is Charlene Bazarian, and she runs FBJ. Oh, I'm sorry, I just bit my tongue. FBJ Fit. Even my tongue's fat. Oh my goodness. So yeah, she runs FBJ Fit, which is a website and also a Facebook page. I want to welcome everyone who is coming over from FBJ Fit. And what Charlene has done, and as you'll hear, is like 20 years ago. And to be honest, she looks like she's 20, so I don't know how she did it. But 20 years ago, Charlene lost almost 100 pounds, 96 pounds, and has been able to not only keep it off, but has completely she's changed her life. I'll put it that way, because the word I was looking for escapes me. But she's completely changed her life. She now loves eating healthy, working out, and she has made she's like 8 things. Like, she does everything. I don't know how she does it. Frankly, she must be superhuman or part of Marvel Universe or something, because she's a lawyer. She runs a DJ service. She does FBJ Fit. She's a mother of 3. I think she's definitely a mom. I'm almost positive it's of 3. It's at least 2. And still has time to be on the podcast. So you might know Charlene from either FBJ Fit, or she's been in Good Housekeeping. She's been in the Oxygen magazines. So she's like the original fitness influencer, I'll say. And that's not what she says. I'm giving her that title. And what is so impressive about her, besides her work ethic and everything that she does, is that she kept it off for 20 years. Because no one does that. I mean, let me correct myself. That I honestly believe is just as hard, if not harder, than losing weight. Because losing weight is, on paper, very easy. The gray comes in when it doesn't taste good, we get bored, we hit a plateau, whatever the reason may be. Life gets in the way and we start eating like we used to again. So not only did she keep it off for 20 years, but she had, I believe, I'm sorry that I'm blanking, but she has gotten pregnant and had children after already losing a good portion of the weight. So she has been able to maintain it as a businesswoman and a mother, and and because I think a lot of people, I mean, you're growing a human inside of you, and if you want to eat ice cream, frankly, who am I to tell you not to? But the fact that she was able to stay so motivated to lose the weight that she gained during her pregnancy, and to keep it off and motivate and inspire thousands of other people is amazing. And I'm so thrilled that we got to talk, and I'm sure I'll have her on again very quickly. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. If you have a man in your life or a father, Father's Day is coming up. Actually, God, it's coming up pretty soon. It's coming up at like the end of this week. You need Manscaped, because Manscaped is going to take care of his entire body, not just his balls, but all of it, and from the nose to the ears to anything that involves him and his hair and his smells, which, as you know, are many. You need Manscaped for. So go to manscaped.com and get 20% off when you use code Syatt at checkout, SYATT. You get 20% off and free shipping. So thank you to Manscaped. And Charlene, thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait for everyone to hear this talk. I'm so happy to talk to you. It's funny. My dad, it could be a PR person in another life, but you're one of his favorite people. And as soon as I told him, he was one of the first people I told about this podcast idea. I had the idea driving to his house, and he's like, "Oh, you have to talk to Charlene. You have to talk to Charlene." So you come very highly recommended.
Oh. Well, he's my, we always joke that we should be on an island together, and we don't even have to have conversations. We could touch each other's forehead and have each other's thought friend, because we think so much. We have very fun conversations.
Well, trust me, with him, the fact that you can get a word in edgewise is very,
yeah, we love to talk, the two of us.
Oh my God. Yeah. You guys, we spoke probably about a month ago, and I thought we were going to be on the phone for like 10 minutes, and we were on the phone for almost an hour. So I can see why he loves talking to you. But you have a very interesting story, and I wanted to start because you've lost almost 100 pounds. I think almost. Like it's 96 pounds.
Yeah, right. I can't quite get to that. A few more pounds, I'd be there.
well, first of all, you look amazing, but that is one of the questions I wanted to ask, because it's not healthy. I know it's not good, but because I go through stages. Either I just don't care about it at all, and I'm eating whatever I want, and I get to 336 pounds, or when I do care, I tend to go. I've never gotten big into the working out phase of it. I don't really. It'd be fun to be ripped, but it looks like a terrible process. It just doesn't look like fun to me.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah. Oh no. Hey, I hope there are a couple things I do like working out, but most of it I hate. But I tend to get a little bit obsessed about the numbers. So, you look like you're at a very healthy place. Do those 4 pounds annoy you? Do you try to lose another 4 pounds, or are you just like, I got to where I wanted to get?
No, I think what's really difficult is there's such media pressure right now, and articles that you read of like, oh, the scale is just a number, and don't let it rule you, and don't and there's some truth to that.
Yeah, because, it's a lot.
There is, but I always say when I did not weigh myself, I had total dysmorphia. I mean, I think I knew I needed to lose some weight. Did I think I needed to lose 100 pounds? No, not until, like I had my aha moment. Did I know that things had gotten to DEFCON 5? But now I still weigh myself a lot and almost every day, only because it's easier to lose 3 pounds than it is to lose 100 pounds. So I just kind of use it as a tool to kind of see where I'm falling. It's not going to ruin my day. It's not going to define who I am. I know I joke that if I weigh myself during a full moon, I weigh 2 pounds more. And everyone says, no, I'm like, no, it's true. For me, that's true. Or if I eat too much salty food, but then you educate yourself as to how your body responds to things. So you don't flip out if you, gain a few or, every now and then, once in a while, it will go down for no reason. And you're like, oh, score. So,
right. No,
but
it's very annoying. It's funny that you bring that up because I've been doing it. I think I'm about to hit 6 months. It's weird because I've been going for 24 weeks, but my 6 months is I guess it's weird. I've been going for 24 weeks, but I started December 2nd, so I guess I'm almost at 6 months, like in a week or two. But I've had a couple times where I ate a little bit too much, and I can understand why I might not have lost a lot that week. But for the most part, I've stuck to my plan, and I've stuck to the same workout. And some weeks I lose 4 pounds, and some weeks I lose a pound, and it just
right.
I actually, like this week, and your episode will come out in 2 or 3 weeks, but I thought I wasn't gonna lose any. I thought it was gonna be the first week where I either gained a little bit or just would be lucky to stay the same, because there's and I would love to get your opinion on this, and you sort of just brought it up. There's 2 schools of thought. Either you only weigh yourself once a week or in like a specific time interval, or some people say, oh no, it's good to weigh yourself once a day. I sort of fall somewhere in the middle. I weigh in on Tuesdays officially,
right?
Officially, but I usually don't weigh myself until Friday or Saturday is when I'll start checking in to seeing how I'm doing for the week.
Right.
And last week, I don't know what it was. It sounds so silly, but I normally have, like, on Tuesday nights, I give myself a little bit of leeway with my calories. I'd stay under 2,000, but I let myself eat a little bit more of what I want, and that's usually the night that I have some sort of dessert. And by dessert, I mean caramel rice cakes. It's still not that great. But last week I had rice cakes 2 times in a week, so that was the. But only
see,
thing.
I always joke that like when your rice cakes, like eventually, like and not even just rice cakes, but like I make these protein oatmeal cookies.
Right.
And I never forget when my friend tried them the first time, she was like, these aren't cookies. And I said, they are if you haven't had a cookie in a really long time.
Oh, I know.
But they become your cookies, and that becomes something that you can have that you don't have to feel bad about.
I love caramel rice cakes. I don't care what anyone says.
Right.
I
used to do the little skim coat of like peanut butter on them sometimes as a little treat, but.
See, that's where you have more willpower than I do. If I have peanut butter in the house, then it's going to be bad. I don't do, there's no thin coat for me. It's a whole knife full on each one, and it turns from a 50-calorie snack to an 800-calorie snack.
Right. And I joke, you have to know that about yourself. Like a lot of people now, there are so many people now that kind of didn't know me when I was heavy. And if they totally don't know that I was ever 208 pounds or something, that they would be like, well, you can eat whatever you want. And I always say, you know how I can eat whatever I want? I never eat whatever I want. Like, because that, that can take you, but you have to know, like for me, French fries are my thing. Like I said, if I have a couple of fries, I want all of the fries. If I have a golden Oreo, I want the whole, so it's easier for me on those foods to have none than a little, which is why I laugh when people say, oh, you can have a slice of pizza. And I said, yes, if you have the ability to have a slice of pizza. I don't. Like,
Right.
so
No,
I'd rather pick something else.
I couldn't relate more. It's so funny when you start losing weight, or even before you start losing weight, everyone wants to give you advice, and
Yes.
someone, I've had people tell me, oh, you need, and I have had I've had a dietitian on. I actually just yesterday, and they would have already heard it at this point. I had it was like a sports psychologist on, but he transitioned from athletes to like regular people, and I had him take me through a session, and I really loved it. But I used to get really annoyed before I was losing weight at people who were bigger than me telling me how to lose weight.
Oh, yes,
It was, and even it comes from a place of love. It's a good thing to tell people that, that like you should try this, but and this is a defect on my part, that I act like a little kid. I don't like when people tell me what to do. And
right.
I think everyone who's big, whether they decide to lose weight or want to lose weight, know that everyone knows that they're heavy to a certain. They might not know how heavy they got,
right.
But they know they need to lose weight, but either they don't want to do it or can't, or for whatever reason they're not doing it. But
everybody likes to say that they know what to do, they just don't do it. And I don't really think that's entirely true. I thought all the times I had tried to lose weight, and I did what I call my Atkins to Weight Watchers tour. I tried everything.
That's a good. I've been on that tour.
And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I know what to do. And I'm like, but it wasn't really until everything clicked for me that I found what worked for me. And I always qualify that that's what worked for me. But when people like that try to give me advice, it depends on who it is. I said, even when I was looking for a trainer, when I first started working out with the personal trainer, after, because I had done home videos at first at home, and then eventually had some success with that. And then, and then I wanted to, learn more. And then I took my own personal training certification, and I just tried to learn as much as I could. But when I found a trainer, I trained with Carla Dunlap, who was a good friend of your dad's and was a former Miss Olympia. And I wanted someone who walked the walk. I remember being at the gym I had been to previously, and the trainers would walk around with like a big t-shirt, and they'd have their iced coffee, and they were just chatting with the clients. And I'm like, no, I want someone that really is my goal. Like, that's what I want to be at the other end of this, so I take advice from people that I feel like I want to emulate, rather than just like people saying like, oh yeah, this works. But I'm like, well, if it worked, why isn't it kind of working for you? And I don't mean to say that at all in a bad way, but
right. No, and it's really, I've had multiple personal trainers. I actually kind of like classes more. And I found a kettlebell. The kettlebells are like the only thing I've ever enjoyed working out wise. And I found one actually near me that I'm going to try out. But my problem that I've had with personal trainers, and it's great, I didn't know you had your certification. And for people who don't know, and I'm going to get to your story in a second, but you do like 18 things, so it's amazing, and you do them well. It's not like you like in LA, everyone does 18 things and they do none of them well. But the problem that I've had with trainers is, and they all mean well, and they're all very good at what they do, but it's hard for them, I think, to relate to me, because they obviously like working out. So they'll try to get me to do like the air assault bike, which I hate. I would burn the company to the ground if I could. I would buy, if I ever win the lottery, I'm gonna buy whatever company makes that thing and destroy it, because that bike is evil.
Because you do really need to find things that you and I say that all the time. I found weight training like some people find religion. I mean, I loved it, like only because I'm not a runner at all. Like, like I say, if I'm running, you should run because a clown with a bloody knife is chasing me. That's my little joke. But weight training was like, you got to take a break in between the reps, and like, and I found that I really had success with it. But so you need to find what it is, that you like to do. Like I took ballroom dance classes also, and I loved that. Fun. Like that didn't feel like exercise to me, or like I like walking with friends or biking. But I mean, like, I know I'm not a runner. I'm not like, like the cardio stuff. It's like, I like it, I guess, but not like some people, the guy get the runner's high. There is no, I don't get that.
Right, right. And then the other problem with me for them, similar to what you said about your tour, which I think is a hysterical way to put it, is they would tell me, oh, just if you're going to go to McDonald's, just get it without the bun and get a salad. And if I don't have that, I can't. I'm not going to go to McDonald's or Wendy's
Right.
and get a salad. So for me, I've found now what seems to be working. A lot of people really don't like what I'm doing. I'm doing a form of intermittent fasting called OMAD, which is just one meal a day. And I know that there will be times that I have to eat lunch or something, and I'll just adjust. The only reason I'm doing OMAD is I get the meals I have are as similar to the way I used to eat as I can, other than the sweets. I get to have pretty much everything, and I don't feel like I'm holding back, and I don't feel, and honestly, and I don't know if I know you eat throughout the day, but being a busy person, I actually really do enjoy. I don't get hungry because when I used to work, like I worked at Legals with my dad, I worked at a movie theater. They don't give you long breaks. So like I got used to not eating throughout the day, and I kind of also like not having that 2 or 3 p.m. let's take a nap.
Yeah, right. Because you just crash right there. That's my down. I have this little caffeinated like pre-workout drink, and I kind of save it for like that time of day because I just get like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Right.
And that's just, you have to know. And I always say it's all about like learning about yourself. And the thing for me was, people like you said, people have to give you advice, but I always say like moderation is for maintenance. And I said, everyone tries to tell me like, oh, you can. And I said, well, it depends on where I am. If I'm trying to lose weight, then I can't be moderate. Moderation is going to keep me the same, so like, then you have to, pass up a treat here and there, like, but now that I'm at my goal weight, I give myself a few pounds of leeway. And when I'm in that range and it's the weekend and I want to have something that I have chosen, that I've decided what I'm going to have, not like I'm like somewhere and it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll grab that, I'll grab that. So I just try to be more mindful about when I'm choosing something, I'm choosing it. It's not like it has control over me, that I just was like, although French fries still,
Oh my God, I love French fries. But it took a while, and it sounds like a silly thing to say, but I have to tell myself that I will have French fries again at some point.
Yes.
And just because I'm not having them today, or if I'm out, and I used to like, I had a joke in my stand-up that a small pizza was an appetizer. If you told me you ordered a small pizza, I would laugh at you. But I didn't have.
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't have pizza for like 5 months, and then like last month, I had my mom. We went, actually. Yeah, you're from the area. We went to Papagino's. There's one.
That's right. I worked at Papagino's. In high school, college, law school. I said 12 years I was there. It was
wow. I actually like Papa. It's better than any pizza I had on the West Coast. But my mom got a small pizza, and I tend to not yell. I don't really get upset that much unless someone really screws me over. And it was a really busy night, and people were yelling at them, and I just kind of sat there, and it took a little bit longer than it should have. And they had an extra cheese pizza, and they just gave it to me because I think I was nice. And of course, that only when I was fat, I always see stories. Oh, I went to Dunkin' Donuts and they were about to close, so they gave me 3 dozen donuts.
Right, that never happens.
Never happened when I was fat. But now that I'm trying to lose weight, they gave me a free small pizza, and I literally cut it in half, and had half one night, half the other night, and I was able to moderate that way. But I can't. I'm the same way. I made a mistake right at the beginning of my diet. It was Girl Scout cookie season.
Oh yeah.
So I bought 2 boxes, and I took half of them with me to Florida, and I left half of them in Boston, thinking that okay, I'll have a couple, and I didn't. I still have the ones I brought to Florida, and I had my mom give the other ones away. So I'm saving them for my birthday. When I hit 100 pounds down, I'll have some Girl Scout cookies. But I can't. I'm not the person who can have 2 Oreos. It's just
Right. No, not at all. Me either.
I'm jealous of those people. So let me get to you. So you, if I'm not mistaken, were not heavy your whole life.
No, I mean, average, I would say. And then I got to college and I call it, the freshman 15. Then I went to law school and probably put on, I don't know, maybe 20 more, just because you're studying and you're sitting and it's like Chinese food at 2 a.m. And
Oh yeah.
Your lifestyle isn't that great. And then the bar exam was really rough because that was 3 months of doing nothing. And we moved into a friend's house and her parents, her mother was this amazing Italian cook. And it's
Oh my God, that's not even fair.
Best food I've ever had. And like, so she would feed us while we were studying. And then eventually I got married. And then after my first son, that was like when, things were awful. And I went to a spa for a day of beauty and it was supposed to be this like treat to myself. And then the one size fits all robe did not fit me. And I had to go back to the desk. And that's when the receptionist was really mean to me. And this always causes a lot of conflict for me because she changed my life. I mean, when I went back and I had to say the robe doesn't fit, and she just and I joked that in my mind she weighs like 80 pounds and she's like being all like the mean girl, but she just kept making me say it over and over again. And I remember I went back to the changing room and I was like, oh no, I am never going to feel like this again. And I channeled that feeling every time I was tempted by anything. And so in some respects, I'm like, yeah, you should never make anybody feel, bad about themselves. And I would never want to do that, to some, but had she sweetly handed me another robe, I don't know that day would have been any different from any other day. So
right.
I thought it was I mean, I don't know. I'm like, so I always get very conflicted because I'm just like, yeah, she did me a favor. Like I took that awful moment. And I used it as motivation for myself. But then I created my own, my FBJFit.com blog and a Facebook page and channeled it to reach thousands and thousands of other people and inspire and encourage them. So I feel like I took a bad, toxic moment and kind of did something really good with it. So
that's amazing. Yeah, no, it's a big topic, the fat shaming topic, and I've been, I don't think I would hope I haven't fat shamed anybody. It's possible that I have, but no, it all depends on what works for you. For me, I tend to like rebel against it and just get angry, and then that's when I would eat emotionally. So but it works for some people. But how long ago was this?
Well, Eric, I was pregnant with my oldest and he's 21, 22. Yeah, 20. Yeah. So that was probably about 20 years ago. And then what happened was I had lost about half the weight. And then I wanted to have my second son.
Right.
And so whenever people say, how long did it take? I always say, well, if you were doing it from start to finish, it would probably be a year, but I had 2 kids in between, so I had my second son, then lost almost all the 100. And then I really had to decide. I was where I wanted to be. Did I, and I wanted my third. I was going for the girl, so to speak. But but lucky, I got a great third son, so it was fine. But so then I lost it again after having him, and then I've kept it off ever since. And I'm always really kind of proud of that because I see so many times people, and even when I had done my Atkins to Weight Watchers tour, you would lose it and gain some back, and then and sometimes more.
Right.
Sometimes
I've done that a bunch of times. Yeah.
And my advice is always to say, look at it like that there's no finish line. And I think that's hard to do when you have a goal number, because when you hit that number, you're like, okay, yay, I'm done. I did it. And I really try to never think like that. I try to think like it's like day to day, day after day, not, here I am. And people always say, well, you'd never get fat again. You love it so much. And you're so I said, well, I never thought I'd get heavy in the first place. So, I mean, I'm not stupid enough to think that, it couldn't happen to me again. I think life happens and you don't know how you're going to respond to things. So I'm cautious.
Right. And I've lost and gained it back plus 15 or 20, probably 7 times. I mean, I don't even know how many times. And the thing that you just said couldn't be more true is because I don't really drink. I used to like marijuana a little bit, and I still do, but I just can't do it right now because I'll eat everything. But food is my thing. I love food. I love like. It's not like I love vegetables. I love fast food and candy and all of it. And
But I give your dad as a big example for this though. Give yourself a chance to acclimate to new tastes. And I say that because your dad, when he worked at Legal Seafood, took me and he would try to get me to eat the tuna sashimi. And we were like we were the green eggs and ham people. I was like, no, I don't want that. He's like, no, you'll really like it. I'm like, no, I know I won't like it. And I mean, that went on for, I think 2 years before I finally said, if I eat this, will you not bother me anymore? And now sushi is like such a huge part of like, I mean, I really enjoy it, but would never have thought that.
Right.
And so like,
right. And I do like more when I'm eating. I eat green beans and mushrooms probably 3 times a week. There's stuff that I am learning to enjoy. But if you gave me a pile of green beans and mushrooms and a pile of Reese's, it's not even it wouldn't take me more than a millisecond.
But I will say that once you've gone long enough, like, I mean, I remember I used to order like a lot, like I loved pasta. And so like if I got a pasta with a heavy creamy dish now, it's not that I don't even think, I just think it would sit very heavy. I would just be like, oh, I don't really feel like I really come to realize how food like that affects me, not just because maybe I'll gain weight or something, but my joints hurt. Like I feel, it doesn't like, you just feel achy. You don't feel as energy. So you'll come to realize how food affects you and like how you feel, not just like how it,
Absolutely. But the problem I had before, and it's right around, I'm down 84 pounds and it's right around. Well, thank you so much. But
that's a person. That's like a person. I know. Take a moment to appreciate how much like that is a 12-year-old child.
Oh yeah. Oh, or for me, a chubby 8 or 10-year-old probably. I don't know how when I was 84 pounds, but I've never hit 100 pounds before, and I've needed to, and it was usually around this time that I'd hit a plateau or I'd get sick of it, and I always like just assumed I could go back to eating the way I was, and now what I haven't missed a week of losing at least something, and the thing that I think is different this time is that A, I'm cooking almost every meal, and B, the way I like, if I ever become a fitness influencer, that'd be crazy. But if I ever did write a book, I would call it "Stop Eating Like a Jerk," because it was just, I was just eating, every meal was a cheat meal. Like every meal was a cheat meal, and it wasn't.
But that is how people eat today. I mean, that's not.
I know.
I said eating has become like I said, and you have to condition the people around you. Because I said, what you were saying, people like want to give you advice. I find they want to sabotage you. Like, I feel like, when you lose 5 or 10 pounds at the beginning, everybody's like, good for you. That's wonderful. You have some real success with it. And everyone's like, oh, come on, you can have a little bit, just once, let's get ice cream. And I really had to condition people like that, if you want to see me, not everything is going to be food focused. We're not always going to go out to eat or always out for ice cream. We can go for a walk, get our nails, like to do something that's like a thing, not just eating.
I'm going to put my dad on blast a little bit, and I'm sure he'll feel terrible, but he apologized immediately, but I went down to visit him for 2 months. I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I love, like I just said, I love Reese's. I specifically love Reese's Sticks, and Fast Break are also very good. And I was on the diet. I had almost lost 50 pounds when I saw him. And he is a very thoughtful person. And he was out one day, and he came back with 2 king-size bars, one of Reese's Sticks, one of Fast Break. And as soon as he saw my face, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "I appreciate it, but I'm gonna." And I made him put them in his room. I said, "These are for you. I can't see these, or I'm gonna go kind of crazy." So it is weird. It is, especially with people who you're used to eating with. It's hard to teach them that you can't do that. Are you still there, Charlene? I seem to have lost your video.
Sorry, wait. Are you back? There.
We're back now.
Sorry. I had it on Do Not Disturb. I'm really sorry.
No. That's totally fine. But yeah, it's hard, especially with friends. There's a lot of friends I have, or even I had entire relationships where our relationship was based around going out to eat and having snacks. So that that was really tough. So when you said you did your tour, how did you, what plan or diet, which I know people get mad when you say that word, how did you eat to lose the 96 pounds?
Right. So now I think what I did differently this time was, I remember actually, because your dad was a big influence to me, because I remember he used to like the motivational tapes, and he listened to Tony Robbins a lot. And I
Right.
remember there was this whole thing about mimicking, and it was supposed to be to find someone or somebody that had success doing what you wanted to have success at and try to mimic their behavior. And so I think I just started to think of everything as like, what would a fit person do? Like, what would, and so I did what I thought. And I said, what I did to lose weight maybe isn't what I do right now, because you learn and you grow and you like adapt. Okay, that works, that doesn't. But like I said, okay, fit people drink protein shakes, and fit people read fitness magazines, and they go to the gym and they lift weights, and they, do like egg white omelets. And so I tried to do all of the kinds of things I thought a fit person would do. And I think that that's when I started to really more model what bodybuilders do. And that was really more of the lean proteins, leafy greens, complex carbs. So like sweet potatoes and brown rice. And even those, I have a little bit less of the starchy carb. Like the carbs for me are that's those are always the trickier thing for me.
Oh my God. Especially, and are you Italian or no?
Armenian. So close enough.
Okay, Armenian. Yeah. Oh, I apologize. I should have known what the last name. It's funny. I came from Massachusetts, and I knew a bunch of Armenians, and they were just like people that I knew. But in LA, it's it's probably one of the biggest populations, and all of the Armenians have jokes about all the Armenians there. So it's coming from there. I should have known you were Armenian. So,
but the food is part of your culture, and people like I always say, people like to think food is love, and they try to be like, oh, here, have this, and people were really, it took a while. Like now, like I always joke that sometimes people don't offer me something, and then they're like, oh, well, I know you won't have it, but that took a long time, and now, and my line now is always, it's not about never having a cupcake. It's about not always having a cupcake. So if I'm somewhere and I'm in my range and I want to have a special treat, I will. But when you mentioned doing a lot of things, like, I was a DJ for a long time, and I mean, I still run the DJ company, but I would be at these really great events and bridal shows and weddings and parties, and like there were chocolate fountains and like, bacon wrapped this and bacon wrapped that. So there were all these really cool things. And I started to realize, while some people are at these once in a while as a guest and can have a treat because like, well, when are you going to see the chocolate fountain again? Right. I'm at these events all the time. And so if you're always having it, then of course you're not going to lose weight. And I think what people get discouraged is you could do good all week. You could make all the right choices, get your workouts and do everything. Okay, now it's the weekend and you feel like, oh, I deserve a little splurge. And then maybe you ate too much sodium, or maybe you had something that had a little more carbohydrates in it. And then you puff up, you get on the scale on Monday and you gain the 2 pounds that you lost. And then you're like, see, nothing works. Don't know why I bother. And then you give up, or, it cycles itself. So you need to give yourself enough time to have some progress, to give yourself that wiggle room that you can have, you can have the treat and still be where you want to be.
Right. Absolutely. And I've heard that you have a very, it's an interesting, it's probably a smart thing for me, is you have a rule about that if you're going to watch TV, that you have to do it on the stationary bike.
Yep, I have a Life Fitness cycle. It's right over there actually, and I have a rule that I can't watch TV unless I'm on the bike or the elliptical, or I'm on something. But the only exceptions I make for that is if we're doing a family movie night, or the Super football in the Super Bowl once in a like that. Those are kind of the exceptions.
That's a long time to be on the elliptical. If you could do 4 hours on the elliptical, oh my God.
But it makes me choosy about what I watch. And it makes it so that it goes by really quickly. I mean, when I'm really into a program, it's like, oh, geez, the hour went by fast. So that's when I try to keep it all on the DVR and hop on when I want to watch it. But that's why when people say, oh, are you watching, The Walking Dead? Are you watching? I'm like, no, I can't. No more TV. There's no more.
I'm exhausted. My legs want to fall off. That's great. I want to talk to you about FBJ Fit because I do a lot of consulting with people on their podcasting, and I've been involved with content, I guess, for the lack of a better word, for almost a decade, and it's so hard to build something if you don't have a built-in audience, and you were able to build this from scratch, and I think that's amazing.
It was really funny because what had happened was my story was featured in Good Housekeeping. That was kind of the first national magazine I was in. And that was really, really fun because I mean, I heard from people like literally around the world, but I heard from people I knew, people I didn't know. And so a few high school girlfriends that said, geez, I didn't know you put on weight. I did too. What did you do? And so we were talking on Facebook and jokingly, like they asked me for my help. I don't go around giving people diet advice if they're not asking for it. Right. But so if they would check in at like say Chili's, I would be like, oh, well, what are you ordering?
Right.
So they started calling me Facebook Jillian after Jillian Michaels, and then
that's funny.
Then it became FBJ for short, but it was a fun nickname between me and like 3 high school girlfriends. Right. And so then we were talking about it so much that I created a page on Facebook so that everybody that was on my regular Facebook page wasn't like listening to us talk about how many calories were in the food you got, or go to the check the menu before you go to the restaurant. So I started that with a few girlfriends, and then every time my story was featured someplace, which it's been it was in Oxygen, it was in First for Women, Pop Sugar Fitness, like so it ended up being in a ton of different places that I would new people would find me. And so then eventually people said, oh, you should have a blog. And I'm like, well, I'm an attorney. I run the DJ company. I'm just kind of like, now I'm doing this. And then I did, I started the blog, and that has been a really, just gratifying because that like you see how many people read what you write, and like what, I've gotten to interview some fabulous people, and I've met some great people. And then I've also started writing for Women Fitness. And so that's been really, I think the wider the audience, when you have something you really want to share or you want to inspire people, like the more people that can read it, the better. But yeah, I've been surprised. I think the page is like creeping up on 10,000 on Facebook, and
that's awesome.
And I'm working on, and it's at FBJ Fit on Instagram, and that's that's about 2,000, almost 2,000, I think. But so I've been trying to build and keep promoting it and getting new people to chime in and see what they think.
Well, that's awesome. It's and I think what's so special about it is, like I said earlier, and this isn't a knock on any of them, but I think a lot of trainers and nutritionists and people like that were people who had that interest and that ability already. And for you to be able to say that, not only that you lost almost 100 pounds, but that you've kept it off for, I guess, close to 20 years, is that honestly, I think, is probably the most impressive part. Not that, because I'm almost at 100, not that losing 100 pounds isn't great, but it's sort of, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. I can't think of an analogy, but what I'm trying to say is it doesn't really matter if you lost 100 pounds, if you gain it back in 2 years. It shows that you can do it, but almost harder than losing the weight is maintaining that, because
definitely the harder piece. And I think that people, when you've done as many diets as I had done, nobody took me seriously. When I came back from the spa that day and I was like, this time I mean it, like everyone's like, yeah, okay, we'll see what she does this time. And
how long is it gonna last?
You don't always get the support. I think that like you think that you're going to get. You think people are going to be really encouraging, and it's not that like plenty of people were great about it, but a lot of people were just like, when we go out to eat, and I'm like, don't leave the rolls, don't, I always joke Mexican. I never want to pick Mexican to go out to eat because that basket of chips I'm just like, that is the hardest thing.
the basket of chips, and I don't know how like rice and beans are probably my favorite thing, and it's probably one of the worst things you can get to eat.
So I try to find like I have some great recipes that I post about them on my page about things that like are, because I always say I like quantity and I like it to be filling. I don't want to be hungry when I'm done. Right. So like I like to have like like I have a great soup recipe I make that freezes nice, and it's good on those days you don't feel like cooking, or like even like no matter what I make, there's always a lot of salads and veggies on the plate too, because I eat fast, but I like to have a lot to eat. So
And how have you, because it's something that I think about a lot since I've been big my whole life, is what I'm gonna do with if I ever have kids. Because when I was young, there'd be people I knew who like their parents wouldn't let them have candy or soda, and I always used to think, oh, their parents are so mean. But
I can tell you, I have some great tips on that, because
well,
I said when I had 3 boys, and boy metabolisms are very different. Like, when they're doing a lot more, and I never made anything forbidden, but I always talked about things in terms of choices. And I would just always say, you give them and introduce them to things, and let them, because otherwise, and we have a friend that comes visit my youngest son, and it's like the Oreos are out. I'm like, he'll eat the whole package. And I know he doesn't eat like that at home. I know his mother wouldn't let him have those. And
right.
So I try not to make it that, you can't ever have that. You can't ever have this. In fact, my youngest son, if you see he's on what we call the milkshake tour. He's always trying these fancy milkshakes every place.
I don't blame him. Yeah.
We try to do active things. And I said, but I will say, and I feel like this for myself too, other than alcohol once in a while, I always would rather eat my calories than drink them.
Oh, yeah.
So when it came time for soda, like if we were at a party or we were somewhere and I thought that they might be tempted, I remember the first time I gave them a sip of soda, it was like flat Diet Coke. And they said, oh, this tastes terrible. And I was
Perfect.
like, oh, I guess you don't like soda, and that worked for a really, really long time.
That's very funny.
Really didn't think they wanted it, but if you give them, orange soda right off the bat,
oh my God,
tasty,
Yeah, no, that's a great one. It's tough because I wouldn't want to tell them they couldn't have it or deprive them of certain things, but I just know, and I mean with my genes and I don't have a girlfriend right now, but unless I date or marry someone who's super fit, it's probably going to be someone like me who likes to eat and has that problem. I just wouldn't want my kids to have that same experiences that I've had, and I'd prefer if they could to be. I don't even care if they're super skinny, but I would love at most for them to have it seemed like, and I tend to judge them a little bit in my head, but everyone who says, oh, if I just lost 20 pounds, I'd be in great shape. Like that's sort of my goal, and I would love if they could at most have that. I'd just be like, I don't want them to be obese and have those problems.
We tried to always do, and I always say there are a lot of times going out to eat has become an activity, and I think we really kind of realized that during this whole COVID, because you weren't going out to eat. And you weren't, so and then you're home and then you're cooking. So it's I think that you have to try to find, especially with kids, things to do. And I said, and if I always give the example of when my kids were little and we went to a birthday party and it was at one of those trampoline places, you had to physically rope them off of the trampoline to get them to eat the cake and pizza. But now as a DJ, when I'm at a party and I say, everyone, okay, the buffet is open, there's a stampede to get to the buffet. So what happens? What happens? Why does the kid not want to leave the trampoline, but the people can't wait to eat? And I think it just becomes and if you're doing something, and I am surprised. I never tried to say to my kids, oh, you have to do, we sign them up for my kids did fencing, which because I wanted them to try we tried a bunch of different things to see what they took to, and they liked that, and soccer. And so they were always very active, but they saw me every day get up and work out, and they see me, all right, I'm going for my walk. All right, I'm taking a bike ride. And sometimes they would come. And now that they're older, I totally see that it's they're now, and now I have to fight for my home gym because all the gyms are closed. So
right. Oh my God. That's funny. That's really, I'm so happy that my dad suggested that we talk, and I've read a bunch of your posts. You do videos, you do reviews of products. Can you tell everybody how they can find your blog and your Facebook page?
Absolutely. It's fbjfit.com on, that's the blog, and on Instagram and Twitter, it's at FBJ Fit, and on Facebook, it's FBJ Fit, but with a space. So FBJ space Fit.
Perfect. That's awesome. It's been great talking to you.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was great. And I usually tell people that I hope they are able to lose the weight, but you've kept it off. So hope you're inspiring me, and I can't wait until we get to go have a sensible meal together.
I would love that.
That would be awesome.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to have had Charlene on, to get to talk to her, to have you hear from her. that everything that you want to do in life is possible, that you can lose 100 pounds, you can still have kids and maintain your weight, you can start a new, it doesn't have to be kids, you can start a new job, you can have something bad happen, like, trust me, anytime I stub my toe, I want to eat a cheeseburger. So the triggers and the things that used to make me just give up on eating healthy don't do that anymore. And Charlene's a big part of the reason for that. And I'm so happy to have her on. And if you're new to the Waistline Podcast, we have episodes every Tuesday, audio and video. Please go back to old episodes. We had John Glaude from Obese to Beast on, Shane Wally from Instagram and TikTok. We've had amazing listener call-ins. If you want to be a call-in, email me waistlinepodcast@gmail.com. We'll set up a little Zoom. We'll talk. I do them every month. And next week, we're going to have another great episode. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to Charlene of FBJ Fit. Send her a note. Say thank you to her. Join her Facebook group. She has great content on there. And that's it. You guys fill me with joy and happiness. And I used to be filled with candy and fast food. So joy and happiness is a lot better and makes me look better. So thank you all very much. And I will talk to you next week on the Waistline Podcast.